Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to today's meeting. Please rise and join me in the flag salute. Right hand over your heart, ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. City Clerk, may you call roll, please?
Mayor Ibarra,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
thank you. Councilmember Larios,
Present.
Councilmember Merlo,
Here.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move.
Is there a second?
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Davis, seconded by Councilmember Larios to approve the agenda. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Councilmember Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now take public comment from members of the audience. If you would like to provide a comment through Zoom, please click the raise hand button. Are there any public comment? Please come up to the podium, state your name and business affiliation, if any, and please limit your comment to 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Jacob Malamed. I'm with La Spec Lighting Company on 52nd Street.
Excuse me, sir. May I ask you to please speak directly into the microphone?
Hello,
Thank you.
is it work? Is it working?
Yep.
Good. But I can shout.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jacob Malamed. I am with La Spec Lighting Company on 52nd Street in Vernon. We've been in Vernon for 35 years, but it's my first time here. I came here to say thank you. Thank you to the city, but a special thank you to Mr. Manuel Garcia and his team for taking care of an issue that we've had for over 2 years, and we couldn't take care of it. And him and his team did it in 3 weeks. You see, the fact is that our property parking lot backs to a Union Pacific abandoned railroad with 12-foot trees, bushes, dangerous area. A lot of undesirable criminals there. You could see them daytime, at night. Our cameras would catch them. And we have a tall fence with barbed wires on it that we climb over. We had multiple break-ins and hundreds of attempted break-ins. The situation was getting so bad that we were thinking of leaving Vernon. We looked at City of Commerce, Santa Fe Springs. We spoke to our neighbors to get a security patrol, private security patrol to be in our property and in our neighborhood. It was very costly. So we were thinking of just moving. And out of desperation, because I couldn't get through to Union Pacific, we contacted the city. And thank goodness, Mr. Garcia and his team got involved. And within 3 weeks, which is a magical number, they forced the Union Pacific people to come and clean it. It was cleaned last week. If you see it today and what it was a week ago, is day and night. Still, we are grateful that it was done, it's clean, is much better. However, we don't feel 100% secure because our people at night don't want to work anymore because it was too dangerous. We don't feel 100% comfortable until that Union Pacific neighborhood is closed up. So the undesirables, the thieves, the drug dealers, and whoever else that hangs over there cannot gather there anymore. But there is no comparison to what it was 2-3 weeks ago. We want to stay in Vernon. We love Vernon. We need 2 things from you guys, if you can help us with it. Number 1 is more security. And number 2, flexibility in the planning department. Business is changing. We hope, God willing, we keep our fingers crossed, that with the difficulties with the imports, we have an opportunity because we are a manufacturer. We have an opportunity to regrow our business, and we need flexibility. We are asking the city to give us more flexibility to improve our business and make some changes for the future. Again, I wanted to thank the city and especially Mr. Garcia and his team for taking care of an issue that we couldn't do it for a long time. And we are here to support you. If you need something, please let me know, and I'll be happy to support the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further public comments?
There are none on Zoom.
Thank you. We'll now go on to presentation. Agenda item number 1 is the Employee Service Pin Award for October 2021. Human Resources Director Earl will present the item.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the City Council. During the month of October, we had 5 city employees achieve service milestones with the city, and we'd like to recognize a few of them this morning. First, we'd like to recognize Jessica Ballandren for 5 years of service. Jessica was hired as an administrative analyst in the Public Utilities Department on October 3rd, 2016, and was recently promoted to Utilities Compliance Analyst on October 21st, 2020. Jessica? We'd also like to recognize Jonathan Gonzalez for 10 years of service. Jonathan was hired as a utility man 4 on October 11, 2011. He also held the position of water maintenance worker and currently serves as a senior water maintenance worker. Jonathan?
Michael Earl was being recognized for 5 years of service to the city. He was hired as Director of Human Resources in the Human Resources Department on October 24th, 2016.
Thank you. We'll go on to agenda item number 2 is the recognition of retired employee Jerry R. Chavez, Jr. Human Resource Director Earl will present the item.
City Clerk will do that one.
Sorry. We're presenting a proclamation that states the mayor and city council of the city of Vernon on behalf of its employees, residents, and businesses hereby commend Jerry R. Chavez Jr. for his years of service to the city. Mr. Chavez is unable to be here, but we will make sure that he receives this proclamation.
Thank you very much. We'll now go on to closed session for agenda item number 3 and 4. We'll be back in how long it takes.
Council met in closed session on items 3 and 4 and no reportable actions taken.
We'll now go on to consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion. Items may be removed from the consent calendar by any member of the council. Those items removed will be considered immediately after the consent calendar. Does council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? No? Are there any public comments for the consent calendar on Zoom?
There are no comments.
Okay, seeing there no comment in the audience, may I have a motion for consent calendar item number 5 to 14.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Davis, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to approve the consent calendar. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now go on to new business. Agenda item number 15 is the approval of purchase and sale agreement for the Malburg Generating Station and related assets. Acting Deputy City Administrator Kimmy will present the staff report.
Good morning, Mayor and honorable city council members. On behalf of City Administrator Fandino, staff is asking council to adopt resolution 2021-41, authorizing and approving a purchase and sale agreement with respect to the Malburg Generating Station and related assets. Also approving other documents in connection with the acquisition and authorizing certain matters related here too. As council is aware, the city has been in negotiation with Bison for the purchase of the Malburg Generating Station, 120 megawatt baseload, 134 megawatt full load combined cycle natural gas fired power plant. Under the current purchase power tolling agreement terms, the city is obligated to pay Bison an average of $4.3 million per month for a total of $325 million in projected payments through 2028. The negotiated purchase price is $198 million, subject to any adjustments which may come to light during the due diligence period. Under the current market conditions, the city total estimated savings between today and 2028 range from between $5 and $10 million. Pursuant to section 2.74 of the Vernon Municipal Code, the city may issue bonds for the purchase of financing. Accordingly, if the PSA is approved, the purchase sale agreement, staff would present bonds to City Council for approval at a special meeting no later than November the 30th in anticipation of selling the bonds on or about December 7th. Bond closing and acquisition of the MGS would occur on December 14th. Scott Williams, Director of Finance, is available to provide additional information.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of City Council. As Angela mentioned, this has been a long process. And I think there's a few things that really bear repeating publicly, as this is really the carrying out of a strategic vision for the utility, which is so central to who we are at the City of Vernon. And I'm just going to note a couple of points that we mentioned in our rating call yesterday. And the first is this Carlos shared the impetus for owning the plant. It's right there on this banner. It is a commitment on the part of the city and the utility that by the end of this decade, that we have the lowest rates in California. Now, that's not because the utility has to do that. It's because of who we are as a distinct city who act as strategic partners with our business community. And it is that commitment. That's the why now, so that so that we are set up by the end of this decade to address rates in that way. A couple of other benefits. Of course, to retain resource adequacy and capacity requirements through the end of 2028, which is the term at the PPTA. However, it's beyond that. So what this does is this very importantly puts the city in a position of control over the site, the ability to repower the plant, reconfigure the plant, something that the current owner had control and rights over through 2048 if this transaction didn't go through. So what the city had were impaired assets in terms of the land, the lease, and the interconnect. Well, that is all resolved. Those counterparty risks are gone. And now the control has been squarely put in the hands of the city where it belongs. Alex is here to address any of the particulars on this, but there's opportunities involved like this renegotiation of the LTSA, the long-term service agreement with Siemens for the plant. there's the ability in the future for MGS to reconfigure the plant in a way that actually can address renewables powering down in the daytime when we have this excess of solar that we really can't take advantage of under the current agreement. So this creates a flexibility to integrate all of this, because that's power in California, and that's part of the future. But in summary, this is central to the long-term strategic vision of the city, and it's only made possible also through the health and independence of the general fund. And you all, you'll hear just in a month or so the audited financial statements and just how well our general government side is doing, and that's who provides the safety and infrastructure that has businesses clamoring to come into Vernon. So those are just some points that we shared with the agency. That's the importance of why now.
Any further comment from?
The item before council is obviously the culmination, as Scott was mentioning, of months of negotiations, analysis, and diligence on the part of city staff and the city's consultants, all pursuant to the direction and authority of city council. Many hours have been put into the documents that are before you now. Douglas Brown from Stradling, the city's acquisition and bond counsel, is also present and available to note some of the highlights of the purchase and sale agreement.
Good morning and thank you. Yeah, the purchase and sale agreement before you today sets the framework for the transaction between now and December 14th. By executing the PSA today, you've locked in the price and you've locked in the schedule. And over the next 3 or 4 weeks, the diligence will be completed, all the legal filings and the like will be done. And as Scott indicated, you will go to market and issue bonds to finance the project. So that is outlined in the purchase and sale agreement. The purchase and sale agreement itself both acquires the facility and it also terminates all of the various agreements that are in place, which many of them extending beyond 2028. Scott indicated, that one of the benefits here is to terminate that interconnection agreement, the lease, and certain other agreements, which really inhibited the city's use of these assets, over time. There are, the usual sort of representations and warranties. For example, if the purchaser has represented that they're in compliance with all regulatory obligations and the like, if for some reason through the next couple of week period, turns out that's not true, the city has the opportunity to back out of this transaction. It's like buying a house. If something you were told when you sign a purchase contract on a house turns out not to be true, you have that opportunity to exit. You also have the opportunity to exit the transaction if you're unable to finance in an economic manner as well. So the schedule from here on in would be that if the purchase and sale agreement is approved and signed today, the expectation is it will close on the 14th of December. To close on the 14th of December, you will need to finance by about December 7th. In order to finance by December 7th, we will need city council's approval of bond documents on or about November 30th. So you would expect to see this group, I think, back in a couple of weeks in connection with the bond financing. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And I just want to underscore one thing on the financing as well. Last time we spoke on this subject, there was the possibility of the term, but everything's now been modeled with the identical term of the PPTA. So there's no, it's not necessary to extend it. So these bonds are paid in 8 years or 7 years.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council at this time?
No.
Councilmember Lopez?
No?
Okay, great. Are there any public comments for item number 15? Anything on Zoom?
There's nothing on Zoom.
Great. May I have a motion for item number 15?
Move Lopez.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
With a motion from Councilmember Lopez and a second from Councilmember Merlot. City Clerk? The motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Merlot, is to find the action exempt under CEQA and adopt resolution number 2021-41, authorizing and approving a purchase and sale agreement with respect to the Malburg Generating Station and related assets, approving other documents in connection with such acquisition, and authorizing certain other matters relating thereto. And I'd like to mention that the exhibits were modified as provided to the council this morning and as posted on the city's website prior to the meeting. So with that, I'll call the roll. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Larios, Councilmember Merlo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now go on to agenda item number 16 is the amendment to the classification and compensation plan. Human Resource Director Earl will present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. With the purchase of the MGS power plant, there's a need to establish city staff positions to operate and maintain the facility. Staff is recommending City Council approval of the establishment of 13 new classifications and associated salary ranges. The new classifications were developed to be consistent with the current operations and staffing structure through surveying comparable positions in other public utility operations, based on internal alignment with existing classifications and based on the evaluation of the staffing needs by the city administrator and the city's contracted consultant who's assisting with the pre-purchase plan evaluation. In addition, staff is also recommending approval to two other unrelated classifications in the Human Resources Department for Human Resources Analysts and Senior Human Resources Analysts, and a salary adjustment to the Human Resources Analyst classification. With the current vacancy in the Human Resources Analyst position, it's appropriate for us to review the series prior to beginning a recruitment to fill the vacancy. The job descriptions have been updated to more accurately reflect the work assignments and the requirements for the position. The more significant changes to the HR analyst classification include adding the requirement for a bachelor's degree and designating this classification as being exempt from overtime. Based on the changes to these minimum requirements and a survey of the comparable classifications in other agencies, as well as looking internally, there's a revision to the salary recommended. There is no salary adjustment recommended for the senior HR analyst classification. I'd also like to note that there was an error on the salary schedule attached to the resolution, and a supplemental staff report has been provided with a revised salary schedule and provided for public review and council review. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Does council have any technical questions for staff? Are there any public comments for item number 16?
There's nothing on Zoom.
May I have a motion for item number 16?
I move.
May I have a second?
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Davis, seconded by Councilmember Larios, to approve new and revised job descriptions for several positions listed on the agenda, adopt resolution number 2021-42, amending Exhibit A of the classification and compensation plan, approving new and revised salary ranges for the above referenced classifications. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Larios.
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go on to oral reports. Acting Deputy City Administrator Kimmy, do you have a report for us?
I do. Thank you. On Saturday, November the 20th, LA County Board of Supervisors, Hilda Solis will again host her 2021 Operation Gobble Gobble and distribute turkeys to various charitable organizations serving in the First District. This year, the City of Vernon will show its support for the community by serving as a sponsor, and we've provided approximately 1,000 turkeys for the local distribution event in Commerce. In addition, the mayor has been invited to speak and represent the city at this special community event. And since this is the last time that we'll meet before Thanksgiving, I want to take a moment and wish everyone a very wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Hope everyone enjoys their time with their loved ones. And that's it.
Are there any reports from council? I'd like to take a couple minutes to say thank you to staff, city staff, directors, everybody here in the city. Without you guys, we wouldn't have been top 5 in the Eddie Awards. Unfortunately, we did not win. But it shows what Vernon is. And I want to say thank you very much from myself and my colleagues. It was part of my speech, but apparently we couldn't hear it that day. Keep up the good work. Because of you guys, people want to do business in Vernon, and don't take that loss as a loss. It actually is a win for us. And I want to say thank you very much. Okay, we'll now end with no further business. I adjourn the meeting at, what time is it? 9:56. Thank you.